the most money we'd had at any one time in our life. I remember, I know it was with me, I think it was with most. We're in trouble. How do you get it back? For a lifetime you get it. Where do you get it back? Our institutions are in trouble as well. Those are the guiding force of our life. The dropout rate is 40 to 60%. What does that really mean for us? Is that it means that we can't be a people with 40 to 60% dropout. Oh yeah, we can wander around, but we'll still be mopping the floors for everybody else. Right? Is that when we look at it, we send so many people to college, 50% of them drop out at the end of the second year. So things are not what we think, but we must make them what they must be in order for all of our people to make it. Is that this is the basic stuff, and it's not going to get any better out here just by itself. It'll get better only when we make it better. That's what Martin represents. He made it better. And he left a legacy of the Christian church to make it better, right? You know, we only have, the experts tell us we only have about 3 years in order to turn it around. Now, I don't mean turn black people around, turn this nation around. Right? Is that, and if we don't, right, and with Europe going down the drain too, and we're supposed to be the strongest nation and the richest, but the rich people of our nation don't care about the poor people of our nation. Right? Think about it. Is that trouble? Now, let's have enough of that. But we've got to deal for ourselves. Every time that we have needed it, something has happened to change it. But we don't have any Booker T. Washingtons, and we don't have any Martin Kings, and we don't have any of the great type leaders that we had. In fact, it leads us to we must be our own leaders. We must be our own leaders. And we must learn enough to be leaders for each one of us, right? Because it's going to take all of us to save all of us, and I mean all of us. Because if this nation isn't saved, we won't be saved. We'll go down with it. You know what I'm saying? Is that I think it's up to us to save America, because I don't think America can save itself. Is that, and I do believe that that's going to come down to ministry. It always has for us, right? But it is ministry using the best that the world has. All right? Now, you see what I'm saying? I mean, it's not simply because we preach on Sunday morning. Yeah. So let's get that straight. Right. All right. It is good because we reach out on every hand and use everything that's available to save our people. That's what Martin did. Right? See, Martin didn't walk around saving our people. He walked around doing the planning and putting stuff together, right, so that all of us could save each other. Now, with the Poor People's Campaign wasn't just about black people. You see what I'm trying to say? Is that, and it wasn't just about old thinking, it was about new thinking. Yes, sir. Is that how do we get that? And how do we get it so that we can give it to our people so that they can survive through all of this? Right? We got 1 million black people, men in jail. In first, not just in jail, in prison. Right. There's a total difference between that. Amen. Right? And when we look at what it means is that we've got to create a new kind of world, but we have to use new kinds of ideas. You know, and we don't have a great leader. new one, but there's great new ideas out there, right? And if we can bring them together and use them on behalf of our people, right? We can save the nation, right? And why not? I really start to preach right now, and I don't want to do that. I'm just this, right? But I tell you what, we are America's Joseph. All right? And what Joseph meant to Egypt, we mean to America. The great nation of their time, we save. The great nation of this time, we can also save. It is the same God in charge. Now, I know you want to do that. But it's in that process that makes the difference. It's the new knowledge that we need. And this is what we try to bring together. The new knowledge, the new understandings. Why are the corporations up there with those huge skyscrapers? Because they got new knowledge. Ask any of them. They'll tell you that we must continue to be using every bit of knowledge that comes and new knowledge with it in order to be ahead of the game, in order to save their companies. They do it. We have to do it to save our people. Right? Is that we have developed a management center for our organization, not for our organization, for our people. All right? And we're going to be located on this campus. Why? Because if you're going to save our people, you've got to start with the church. Right? But you've got to start taking it very, very seriously. All right? For instance, let me give you an idea of what I'm talking about. How can we stay ahead? We went to Manpower. We went to Manpower, third largest job producer in the world. Right? And we laid out our material that we planned. Right? And they got excited at what we were doing. Now, they are the organization that's going to take us into the new world of work. Now, how do I know this? Is because there's a whole new way to go into the world of work. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Is that no longer will you stand in a line and wait to see if you're picked for a job. Either you will have the skills already, or you will have nothing.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Just that simple, right? Because they've worked it that way, but for two good reasons. One, so that no excuse, and the other, to force us to get ready. When I say us, I mean all of us. I don't mean black people or white people or yellow people. All of that is forgetting about what it's really all about. It's all about knowing. It's all about knowing. It's all about becoming. It's all about being serious about what we are talking about and the people that we want to save. Is that and what we did, they got excited about, and they are the third best in the world. That's not bad, right? Is that everything has to be rethought and retooled. We have looked at and proposed and thought through so that all of our people can make it if we need to. We got 4 lines that we're going through. I meant to start with this, but once you start talking to ministers and you see the power of the church in front of you, you get off. Is that, but there's 3 avenues that we must be involved in with our people in order to win this. Right? The first is self-knowledge. The second one is community development. The third one is education. And the fourth one is spiritual development. Because you know at this table that if it doesn't have a moral and spiritual base, it will not win. In the movement Martin King won, right? Oh, there were plenty of other organizations out there, right? But why did he win? Because Martin had a moral and spiritual movement. It wasn't a political movement. That's what white people saw and the newspapers saw and all of them saw because they didn't want to see where it really was. They thought when they said doctor that maybe he was a medical doctor, right? No, he was a theological doctor, right? He was at the other level. His message was a message of God that undergirded all the other that he was doing, not talking, doing.
Come on. Come on.
And this is what has to be understood. Do we have something that we're doing now? Is that we need to understand that, but we need to understand it so we can take it to our people. That's what this is all about, right? We put it together. We've got 47 different hours of material, right? Is that you can't get it all at once. But what we ask is 4 hours at your church with you, right? And this morning, you're going to get an understanding of what that is about. And we're going to give you one piece of that 47 different pieces of material, all right? And we're going to start where we really need it in self-discovery, right? Thinking through our lives. And so I want to introduce you to our vice president that's in charge of preparing the material. And here's a man who just had a child 2 days ago, and his half is a writer of materials as well. And they've been working at this for years now. This is the great good about it all, is that this didn't just happen. Right? We talk about education as one of the avenues in. This man was going out to places where you would never think that anybody wanted to learn higher math, and putting a sign on the window at the library. If you will be here at 9 o'clock Saturday morning, right? If you'll be here, if you want your higher level of education, you can get it. If you really want how you can get to high school, through high school into college quickly, we can do it. Quickly, right? And you know what? They came. They came, right? And this was in the heart of the ghetto, right? It wasn't at our churches. It was in the heart of our ghetto. So we know that you'll come to your churches if you blow your horn. I want to introduce then, and you heard some of our people, all right? And when you looked at them, you would kind of evaluate them, all right? They don't evaluate as preachers, but they all have a spiritual understanding of life. That's what we are really about. How do you give it to people? How do you give it to people? How do you make certain that they get what they need? This is a matter of meeting the needs of our people. And Michael Fleming is one of the most brilliant guys I have run into anywhere, right? And I've run into a lot of folks. And I ask you to listen to Mike.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. Again, Ken, it's an honor, absolute honor, just even be serving Dr. Vivian today at all times. But it's as much an honor to be in this room today to serve you. And I don't know how much everybody is aware of today, but then for the sake of time, we actually are going to do a small workshop. It's called Vision Quest. And then in the Vision Quest workshop, and then let me give another additional information. We do this process called vision mapping. And we're able to literally extract the entire vision from internally, from inside of someone, and frame it. So Dr. Vivian is the interim president of the SCLC, so down at the Auburn Avenue local headquarters, we actually have an entire room dedicated to his entire vision. And I mean, literally, you can see his entire vision around the entire room. And for those that have had a chance to see it, I don't know if familiar with but would love for everybody at some point to try to come by and see what that actual room is gonna look like. But today, inside your packet, that says Vision Quest, there's a little diagram with a bunch of circles on it. In less than 35 minutes, your entire life story is gonna be on one of those pages. And I'm gonna hold it up here just a second. I'm gonna end up moving this podium out of the way. And for the sake of time, that's why I'm not doing a major introduction, because I wanna get you through it first, and then we can open up the Q&A afterwards. But you should have a diagram that looks like this. And again, in less than 35, 40 minutes, your entire life story is going to be on this single page. The thing about it is, what Dr. Vivian was eloquently describing before, is having a new way, a new process. And over the years, what we've been able to do, and what Dr. Vivian was referencing, is that myself and a lot of our colleagues all had our own separate companies, came out of the military, corporate, entrepreneurs, small business owners, I mean, just a little bit of everything. And what we did years ago is we took all our talents together and we just said, let's go try it out in the community, see what these same processes that made us successful in our careers could work in the community. And so we brought this mapping process out into the community. And so, but for the last 2 years, we've been working through Dr. Vivian's vision. For the last 9 months, we've been working on the materials. And Dr. Vivian was describing that we have 47 little weeks of materials. And like I said, you're just going to get a sampling of it today. And then we'll save all the questions and answers for the end. But let me give you some disclaimer for the information that you're going to cover today. Remember, I said your entire life story is going to be on this page. This is private, it's personal, it's confidential. You don't have to share it with us or anybody else. If you want to, you can write the instructions down and fill it out later. And we believe in train the trainer. We are extremely transparent people. Extremely. That's one of the reasons that we love for people to see the operations room, the strategy room that we created for Dr. Vivian. Is that I'm telling you, every bit of ideas and visions and processes and plans, all those things are very transparent. And we'll share more of those methods and everything as well. So does everybody have something to write with? Okay, and if you don't mind, also, everybody can put their cell phones on silent too. And then we're going to get started. My colleague, Lester Wright, is going to be helping me out, so you'll kind of see us floating around, and down rivers will be floating around with us too to help out. So give me just a second. Yeah, we're going to move this out of the way. I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I'm definitely going to take my lead. But here's the thing about that diagram. We pretty much are going to work from the bottom to the top on that diagram, right? And so starting at the very bottom, there's a circle at the very bottom. What I want you to do is, I want you to take and split that very bottom circle in half. That very bottom circle in half. I tell people all the time, we're the sum of our parts, right? 206 bones, 46 chromosomes, but at the end of the day, we're the person behind our eyes. And we walk into the room with all these amazing experiences and stories. And that's what we're going to take a quick snapshot of what brings us to where we are, into the presence of our moments. On one side of that circle, I want you to write the word mother. One side, I want you to write the word father. Typically, when we have more time, we got a little background information that we say about both of those. And if we're good or bad, what you know or don't know, that's just a symbolism of the fact that there's a story before our story. That's really what it comes down to. But your story, your story, your view of your life starts with those circles above it, the top 5 circles above it. Now this is such a weird question to ask, but I want everybody to think about it for a second. How many times have you been around the sun? Weird, sounds weird, right? How many times have you been around the sun? And I say it that way to put it in perspective about how the real journey that we've been through in our lives. Every birthday, every 365 days, that's right, every 365 days, we travel one more time around the sun, right? So then you can do some math, take your age, multiply it by 4, and it tells you how many seasons you've been through. There's more to what's been going on in our lives than we ever think about. And what we're going to do with those 5 circles are, we're going to create 5 chapters to your life. This is the most challenging part of this exercise because we got to get your age. What we're going to do is we got a chart that we're going to hold up. And we're going to get your age broke down into 5 different chapters of your life. 5 chapters. And what I want you to do is I want you to write this age chart above. When you find your range, I want you to write it above your age. So to give an example, I'm 42. I'm going to do mine real quick. 0 to 9, 10 to 18, 19 to 7. 36, 37, 42. So what Mr. Wright is doing right here, if you're 55 or below, this is the sheet you're going to use. And then, okay, and Don's coming up. And what you do is find your closest age range. This is the most challenging part about it. And then it's going to be pretty smooth. Find your closest age range. And then what it is that A tells you what to put above the first circle, B tells you what to put above the second circle, C tells you what to put above the third. And again, you know what, Don, too, we may need that one up first, and then we'll switch. Okay, and then now the second chart is if you're 56 and older. if you're 56 and older. And so they're going to come to you too. This is the most challenging part of it. If you need help, and we can definitely read out the age. And we're going to create 5 chapters to the story of your life. And Mr. Rivers is going to come too, and he's going to have a center check. So this is 55 and below, and then we have 56 and over. And make sure you write them above the circles too once you find it, because we're going to have you write something in the circles. We're going to look at that journey. We're going to look at that overall journey. And again, remember, we're going to have your entire life story in less than 25, 35 minutes.
Okay.
Easy. Don, Ms. Rivers is going to bring it up here.
For 100 and above.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. We've done this. Prisons, homeless shelters, the juvenile justice centers, in the community, from 8 to 92, we had literally youth in the class and adults and parents and couples. We've taken this everywhere to try to see how does this thing work and what does it help us respond to. You might go, you got to get
That's what we need.
That's why
That's what we need. We waiting on you.
yeah, so that's 56 and over.
Yeah, that's what we need. He lied.
We even bring some time at family reunions.
No, I'm taking.
Above each one of the circles. So you should have circle A, B, C, D, and E.
Good.
You got a smile on your face. Oh, that's something we don't know.
But it won't be long before.
I'm watching you.
I'm smiling because I found out about myself. You'll be doing that too.